Hello everyone, and welcome back. Tonight, the heroes of Nereus will be taking a break, and I am going to be playing a game that I really enjoy. It is Marvel United X-Men. I have Marvel United Regular, and I have the United set, and I figured it'd be fun to play that. So tonight, it's going to be Wolverine, Storm, and Beast going up against Magneto. Oops, there we go. So if you've never played this game before, it's a really fun cooperative game. They do have versions you can play against each other, but the base normal game is the players are playing against a villain. So just real quick, go through and we'll start playing. There's 6 locations every time you play the game in a normal mode. There's 6 locations. Each location starts with a threat card based on the villain. The villain has 6 threat cards that you randomly put out. The threat cards are covering a special ability on the location that once the threat card is cleared, which I will talk about in a little bit, when the hero ends its turn, they get to do a special ability if they want to. Most locations are voluntary, or you can choose not to do the action, but there are some in the new set of Marvel United X-Men that are actually negative, and you can you have to do that ability. So, but these are all the base set. I randomly picked 6 from the 8 from the base set, and these are actually everything. All the characters are from the base set now too. So when you set it up, you randomly put out the locations. You put out, when you see this symbol, you can't see that one. When you see a symbol like this, you put a villain or a thug, or you see a symbol like that, you put a civilian. And what I use, these little meat peoples are pretty cool instead of the tokens. But what I do is to help in gameplay is I separate, as you put the thugs on the left side and the civilians on the right side, separate them out as much as I can. And every site has different how many locations they can hold. And once you set up the adjoining, the locations don't matter what they hold. This is just for the setup only. After that, you can have, this one has 5 spots for civilians or thugs. It can hold 5 thugs, 5 civilians, or a combination thereof. And usually you don't want them filled up, because when the villain goes, sometimes he can do things that will cause bad things to happen if you can't fill some of these in. And we'll get into that in a second. I don't want to go too deep into the rules, because the game is actually very simple to play. It's actually very simple to explain. I've taught this to several people. I usually play this solo, but I do play with friends. It's a lot of fun. So anyway, what you do is every turn you play a card from a hero, and I'll show you one from Wolverine. So Wolverine has a card. Make sure it doesn't get glare. Yeah, there it is. So Wolverine plays this card, and these right here are the action icons. And there's 4 types of action icons. These are heroic actions. And then there's a fist. I'll show you here with the rules. On the fist, there's move, damage, heroic actions, which let you do specific things like rescue civilians or do something, a heroic action on the board. And then these are wild, which they can be used for any of the 3 other actions. And then some characters will also have on their top of their card, this is a special ability. So this is an ability for Wolverine, and this is his starting card that he gets with it. Plus, when you start up, you have 3 cards in your hand, and you start every turn you play that hero, you draw a card. Now, I'm playing this solo, but I'm also playing it as a 3-hand character. There are ways to play it solo where you mix the decks and you just draw, but I actually enjoy playing each hero separately, and it just makes it more enjoyable. But see, this one, he has adamantium claws. Only he can use this top part, but so he'll get this. But the cool thing about this is a cooperative game. So let's say Storm has played before, so Storm gets this, but when Wolverine plays, he gets any of the icons to the card that played before his. So he get 2 moves if he played this, but he can also do 2 hits. And you can do these actions in any order. So I could move, punch once, move, punch, or any combination thereof. So I've drawn 3 cards for each of the characters. Ready to start. So that's how the basic game goes. We'll get into some other details. The other thing is every time we activate at the start of the game, there's a timeline or a storyline that it's going to be hard to see how I'm playing it, but I'll have it laid out here. and I'll show you the card that I draw and how it lays out in the storyline. So when you start the game, the first thing you do, there's some setup rules and stuff, and I've already done all that. I've placed all of the threat cards for Magneto, and he has 3 henchmen. Sometimes you have some villains have no henchmen. Magneto has a bunch. He's got Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch, his kids, and Mastermind and Blob, who he's part of the what do they call him? A Freedom Force. And then Mastermind is a character that comes around. He's pretty powerful. He's like a mind control character. But Magneto, who at this point in the story, he's attempting to get the mutants to, override and become more powerful and stop getting attacked from the humans. So in this character, you can see he's purple. And the cool thing about this is in the Marvel United, they have rules for the purple characters. Normally the bad guys are in red and the good guys are in blue or grayish blue, like Wolverine here. The purple ones are actually, they can play either as a villain or you can use them as a superhero, because obviously if you've read some of the story, Magneto becomes part of the X-Men for a while, and as Charles asks him to do some stuff. And so anyway, but this time we're playing as the mutant, or as a villain. And so the job is, in this game, you can lose by many, many ways. The only way to win in this scenario is you have to defeat Magneto and drop his wounds down to 0. So right now we're playing a 3-player game, and he has 7 wounds to start, which shows you on this chart here. So he's got 7 wounds to start. All of his henchmen already have their they have different health levels, but most of them have 4. But Quicksilver has 4, Blob has 5, which I've put dice down to represent their level. And then so to lose the game, which is very easy, sometimes it happens quickly. You lose by 3 different ways. If a villain completes their villainous plot, which is right here, and every villain is different. And I love this about this game is like the heroes, there's some neat stuff about each hero, but really where this game shines is each villain plays differently. And sometimes some heroes aren't really good with some villains, but it's still fun to try out ones. This one I just picked the 3 characters that I wanted to play from the base set against Magneto. So his villainous plot, if he ever gets this to happen, he wins. So if the heroes lose, if at any moment there are no civilians on any location. So, and he has ways of clearing civilians and stuff, and we'll get into that later. So that's one way to lose the game. The second way to lose the game is that the villain must play a card from their deck, and their deck has 12 cards. Their villainous plot deck, their master plan deck. If it's empty and he can't play, you lose the game. And if a hero at any time has to play a card at the beginning of their turn and they have no cards at their hand, their deck can run out. As long as they've got cards in hand, they can play. But if they can't play any cards, they lose the game. And it's win or lose all. So it's not just so the heroes can lose. And then the only way really to fight this Magneto is to knock him down to 7. Well, the problem is you can't damage the supervillain until you actually complete some of these threats. And we'll get into that. So Magneto replaces the one threat. There's normally 3 types of threats, and they're basically the same for every game, except for when the villain changes it. First one is clear threat. So I got to clear 4 of these threats, which is doing different things on each board, which is either fighting the Mastermind or doing 4 heroic actions over here or 4 heroic actions over here. And as soon as you do that, you clear it, and you can put a marker, one of these markers over there. You can defeat thugs. If you defeat 9 thugs, you clear this one. And if you can do these actions, now this is his special ability, or one of his special threats, which is use Cerebro. And a character can spend a heroic action and a move action during their turn to put those tokens on there. They have to do it together. They can't do a heroic action, one turn, and a movement. They got to spend a heroic action and a movement action to put icons, that there's tokens on here that they could put on there. And they don't get to use those actions. They have to spend them for that. So that's how they can clear this threat. So when you clear the first threat, and you can clear them in any order, the way they're placed is just, there doesn't matter. So when you first clear the first threat, whichever one you clear, they just shift down. The villain starts to act. Normally he acts after every hero has played 1 card, up to 3 heroes. So 3 heroes, I usually play 3 heroes. You can play 2, 3, or 4. I generally enjoy the game at 3. 4 is actually sometimes tougher because sometimes you have a hero that just sits out for a whole round and they can get hit pretty hard from some villains. So, and 2 can be tough, but it can also be sometimes a little easier. It just depends on the villain, really, because I've seen some villains be really good at, you can fight them really good at 2, but at 3 you're having a tough time. And it just depends on how they interact with the board game. So we're playing with 3. So initially after 3 heroes have gone, which they go in the same order all the time, Magneto will get to act. And then once we declare the first threat, he gets to go after every 2 hero cards. So then it starts to ramp up. He gets threat. He's just basically, he becomes more devious, and he starts to act every 2. We'll see how that works. And then if you clear a second threat, you can now damage the villain. We have to clear 2 threats effectively to start hurting the villain. And you do that by doing damages and stuff to him. But some of these threats says as long as Magneto is in this or adjacent location, which are these 2, he can't be damaged. So we've got to remove these because he will move around randomly based on the cards we draw. And then if you ever clear the third threat, every hero gets to draw a card immediately. And cards in hand for heroes are basically their wounds. So if a hero ever loses all of their cards, they're knocked out, and it causes things to happen. We'll go through that if it ever happens. So let's go ahead and start the game. I've got everything set up. I've drawn 3 cards for each hero, and the heroes are in order. I'm going to do Beast, and then Storm, and then Wolverine. I just did them in alphabetical order to make it simple. I usually will randomize to see which one goes first. I also will randomize where the location, unless specifically on some setup thing for the villain, they usually randomize a start location, and the heroes start opposite. So this, I'm calling this location 6. So they're going to be on location 3. That's considered opposite, directly opposite, which is important. So this is directly opposite of that one. This is directly opposite of that one. This is directly opposite of that one, because there's some stuff that he does, and some other heroes and stuff can do things opposite. So anyway, let's get started. So after setup, after drawing all your cards to your hand, the first thing you do is you play the villain card to the storyline. So the first villain card, I've already shuffled these decks, so hopefully it doesn't hurt us. So the first villain card that we will get, that's okay. So he gets this. So how you do the cards is that you work from the top down. So you first you look at this. So he's going to move 4 locations. So he's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. He's going to land here. I'm laying them down. Normally they're standing up. Because if the heroes are knocked down, they are considered out of the game until they come back in. But if they ever get KO'd, I'll just move them to the side of the board temporarily where they're located. But for right now, just so you can see what's going on from the location of the camera. So right now he moved 4. He also does his BAM. So what it does is you trigger anything that happens as he moves in, which there's nothing on. Sometimes there's threats and some other stuff that happens as soon as he lands. Something will happen. Well, there's nothing on this one, just Quicksilver's there. So, and then we'll resolve his BAM. Well, his BAM is right here. It says add 1 villain to Magneto's location. So I'm going to, or thug, sorry, I'm going to put the thug right there. And deal 1 damage to each hero in Magneto's location. So there's no hero here, so no damage is done. Each hero in this and an adjacent location must discard 1 action token if they have any. Now, none of my heroes have action tokens. There are ways to get tokens later in the game by activating and doing some special cards that you can store and use them anytime you want to while you're activating the hero. Fortunately, none of them have that right now. And then you activate all the threat cards on the BAM, and I usually start at his location and work around. So this BAM says deal 1 damage to the hero with most cards in hand, and there's no hero here, so nothing matters. Heroes in this and adjacent locations reveal 1 random card from their hands, and so there's no adjacent hero, so we're not worried about that one. Scarlet Witch says each hero in this location must take a random card from hand and remove it from the game. Wow, that's potent. Which there's no hero here. And then Blob says discard 1 from this location. We discard 1 a civilian and deal 1 damage and give 1 crisis token to a hero in this location. So good thing there's no heroes there. Also, he has a special ongoing ability that when you have to move, since he deals with being super hard to move, he generates, I guess he controls his physique to become more and more dense, so he can stop heroes from leaving. So normally when you use a movement, you can move 1 space any direction. You have to move out of this location, you have to spend 2 movement tokens or movement icons. So then we we look at what this shows here. This is the where we add stuff. So we add a thug to his location. We add a thug to an adjacent location, and then this other location. So this is always where the villain is located. So this is the one that's on the next upstream, and this is downstream. So this is going to, he's going to have another thug there. So we've done all the BAMs, we've done the locations, and then we resolve any overflow. So fortunately, we don't have any overflow. Overflow is if you can't place civilians or thugs when you're doing this part here. Now, fortunately, we've been able to do that. We've been able to keep it clear. But remember, we lose the game if anytime all the civilians are gone from the board. So we really want to make sure civilians are not gone from any off all the locations. So we're done with that. That's storyline, and we'll put this over here. You can't see it, but it's up there, and I'll keep them in order, and I'll show you what I do. Now, we've done all that. Now we go to the hero turn. So at the start of every hero turn, you draw a card, and if you're down to 0 cards, you draw 4 cards. So then Beast starts, since he's the first player. So we got to add a card to the storyline. So Beast has a bunch of stuff he can do. This turn, he can treat any of these actions as wild cards. That's pretty good. So I think what we need to do, so I haven't really even looked at these decks, so I don't know what they can do, but sometimes heroes, the villains will not move. They'll just go 0 and bam. Sometimes they don't have bams on their villain card. So I think what we need to do is start thinking about clearing these threats and clearing, like, the henchmen are scary. So we really need to start thinking about clearing them out. So what I'm going to do, and the problem is Beast, being the first one, isn't going to get much help from the neck, because his card's not being, there's no other card in front of him. But what I can do is I really don't want to use a heroic action right now. So what I'm going to do is spend this card, which gives him a move token and an attack. So I'm going to put it over in the storyline. So he gets to go. So he gets 1 move and 1 punch or attack. So I'm going to move Beast. Now, the villain will, unless specifically something on the card, he always goes in a clockwise direction, as it shows on the card that show that arrow going that way. Heroes can go any direction they want, unless there's under some compulsion to not do that. So he's going to go here, and he's going to do 1 attack. So he's going to hit 1. He's going to punch Quicksilver. You got a lucky blow in. I guess he wasn't paying attention. So he gets a blow in. So that's it. So that's his turn. So we go to Storm. Storm gets a draw card. So Storm has... Now, the good thing is when we play Storm, she's going to get, as long as Beast card is face up, there are ways these cards get turned down. She's going to get Beast card he just played. So she's going to get a movement and a punch. So what can we do? Yeah. That's the same thing. Yeah, hold on to that. So I'm going to play this card. So this one gives her 2 moves and 2 punches. But what that does also is sets up Wolverine. He can get a move off of Storm's card when he plays. Now, right now, we're playing... Magneto gets to go after every 3 heroic actions, or 3 heroes get to activate. So right now, it's going to be all 3 of them get to go. Later on, when we start doing stuff, he'll go after 2, and it just escalates the game. So she gets 2 moves. So she's going to go to here. Also, she has 2 punches off those cards. So she's going to punch. He's going to punch Quicksilver twice. So he's down to 1 wound if we can get him knocked out, because he's pretty scary. So that's her activation. So now I'm going to go with Wolverine. He gets to draw a card. So right now, like I showed you guys, he has Storm's card so he gets a move and a punch as long as Storm's card is face up, because it's the card right before his he plays. I think I don't need a move, but I think that's actually pretty cool. I'm going to play this card. I'm going to play this. So on this card, only Wolverine gets the ability of this part, but every hero that plays like a card, so it'll be Beast, will get this ability. So he's going to play this card. So he has a move, and he's actually got, man, that's a really good attack. I think that's good. So he's going to actually have 1, 2, 3, 4 attack and 1 move. So he's going to move. He's going to take out Quicksilver, which he does enough damage to take Quicksilver out. So I just take them off. They just go up to here. So the threat's gone now. And you also clear a threat. So that's one step closer. Like I said, you can do these in any order. So he actually has he has 3 attacks left. He can't hurt Magneto right now because Magneto is not vulnerable. He's not vulnerable to damage, so he's impossible to hit. And you can only attack stuff in your space unless you have a special ability. So he's just going to remove 2 thugs. Now, there's nothing... Normally, it takes 1 hit to remove a thug. So he's going to do 2 thugs off of that space. That also clears that, so if there's any kind of adding locations, or just limits the overflow effect if we can. So he's done. So now, he is ended his turn. He can actually do this if he wants. It says here that since he ended and it's here, these guys couldn't do it because they weren't, this wasn't cleared at their turn. But it's the end of his turn. He could move to any other location. And you only get to do this once. Like if he landed this end of turn, there was another one end of turn over here, he would only get the one where he initially ended his activation. I think he's going to... I think he's going to stay there because... No, I think he's going to use the move to go here. Because he's going to try and take out Mastermind, just so we can start clearing the henchmen, because they're scary. So now we've done 3 heroes. We're going to do Magneto's... Put this over here. We'll do Magneto's card. And so now, 3 actions of heroes, and then we get to do Magneto. Now Magneto, as you can see, the arrow is always going clockwise. So he is going to move 2, which he's going to go 1, 1, 2. He's going to go here. And he bams. So first off, we do any coming into this. Now, there's no triggering effects on the final location, so we don't have to worry about that. So then we do his bam. We do all of the henchman's bam. So we do his first. His bam says, add 1 thug and deal 1 damage to each hero in Magneto's location. Each hero in this and adjacent locations must discard 1 action token if they have any. None of my guys have action tokens, none of my heroes, so we're good. And then we do the BAMs for everybody else. Starting over here, Scarlet Witch. Each hero in this location, there's none there. Discard 1 from this location and deal 1 damage and give 1 crisis token to 1 hero in this location. So he does get to discard that. And then we go to here, Mastermind. Now we've taken out Quicksilver, so his BAM doesn't come into play anymore because he's not on the table anymore. So Mastermind has heroes in this adjacent locations reveal 1 random card from their hands for each punch revealed. Discard 1 civilian from that location. So I'm going to reveal. It's the only one that can matter. So there's no civilians there. I'm only going to do Beast and Storm. So we reveal. Okay, so he shows no at the bottom. You don't count these. It's only the stuff on the bottom. So he only has a heroic action, so he doesn't have to discard 1. And then I randomly draw from Storm. And look at that. So there's no punches or deal 1 damage. So we don't have to remove that civilian, which is good because we don't want to remove civilians in this version of the game against Magneto. Normally you're trying to get this defeat. This is replaced with rescue civilians, and you're trying to rescue them too. But that's a discard civilian. So you don't get to, anything you discard doesn't get to be used for any resolution of any kind of part of the game. So Magneto then adds a thug to his location. That's getting close. And adjacent locations. So there's a thug and then the adjacent location over here. So, and then he's done. So we're going to put that up in the storyline. So not too bad yet, but it can ramp up really quick. So I'm going to go to Beast. So he's next in line. Draws a card. So, right now he gets from, since Wolverine's card is that last heroic card, he's going to get the punch. He won't get those because those are just for Wolverine. He's going to get 1 punch. And he's going to get a heroic. Oh, he's going to get a punch. I think he needs a move. But that's going to waste a heroic. But you know what? I'm going to... Yeah, I'm going to give a move so Storm doesn't have to waste one. So Beast is going to spend his move. He's going to play this card. So he gets a move, heroic, action, and 1 punch from Wolverine's card. So he's going to move to here. I think it's just a good idea to start punishing Mastermind. So heroic action is kind of wasted since I don't really want to do. I can't use the move. No, I can't do that for the other thing. But I can do a punch to Mastermind, which is good. Trying to get rid of those guys. So he's done. So he kind of wasted the heroic action, but maybe Storm can use it for something. So let's move. Let's go to Storm. Okay, I think that may be good. Yeah, let's do that because I can spin that. Okay, so I play Storm. Oh, I got to draw a card. Maybe I don't want to play that one. No, I'm going to keep that one for later. Okay, so yeah. So when I play Storm's card, she's going to get Beast, Move, and Heroic action. And I'm going to play this card, which has a move and 2 punches. And that is her ability, only for her. She gets to do 2 punches in any location. So she's going to go use her move to move here. She's going to spend Beast, Move, and Heroic action to put tokens on this to start whittling that down. And then she's going to use 2 punches. Can Wolverine do it? I'm pretending like I can't look. Normally you can do some table talk, but I like to not look at the cards beforehand. I'm going to do 1 punch. So he's got 2, and she's going to clear one of these guys just to make sure we don't get. Oh wait, that goes here. She's thugs. She gets to defeat 1 thug, and that is her turn. We go to Wolverine. So Wolverine does have a move. He gets to draw a card. Oh, and the heroic decks also have 12 cards in them. Normally you can, and there's ways to tune them a little bit to make it harder for you to play the game. There are rules in that. So he has a move. Yeah, that's actually pretty good. I'm going to play this card, which gets him 2 punches, and he also gets to use Storm's move from previous card. So he's going to jump. He doesn't even need to move, does he? Yeah, but let's just do that. Because he needs to take a Mastermind before he moves. So, yeah. He's going to punch Mastermind twice, which takes out Mastermind, which is good. And he's got a move left, and that's it. So, you discard a card from your hand to the bottom of it. So, if he stops here, he could do this. You may discard a card from your hand to the bottom of your deck to swap a card from your hand with one of the face-up cards in the storyline. That's actually really good. And you'll see why a little later. Actually, he's going to stay there because that's actually really good. So he's going to replace. So he's going to discard this card, which discarding in this game, you just put it out for heroes. You just put it at the bottom of the deck because it just comes back later because that's their life total effectively. So then I can replace a card in my hand. I discarded a card, so I can replace this card, which is his starting card, which is really good. Basically, it says as long as this card is face up in the storyline, if you have it less than 3 cards in the hand at the end of a villain turn, you may draw a card. So I'm going to take this card, replace the one he just played, and put it there. So now he has that, and as long as that stays in play and it doesn't get flipped over or gets discarded, he can do that at the end of every villain turn. He can basically keep healing himself, getting an extra card, or draw up to 3. That's really good. So he's done. All right. And we're going to speed this up a little bit now that we kind of know what we're doing. We're going to play the villain card. Okay, so this is interesting. So we do the movement. He does a 2, so he's going to go 1, 2. He's got so there is no trigger landing here. There is no BAM, and when there's no BAM on the card, none of the BAMs trigger. It's only when there's a BAM on the villain card. So none of the BAMs are still on the board at trigger. But he does have a special ability. It says resolve any special effect on the card. Until the next villain's turn, cancel all special effects on hero cards, and Magneto and his henchmen ignore Magneto and his henchmen ignore the first damage each hero turn. Wow. Cancel all special effects on hero cards. So those are the cards that are in the block up top. That's a special effect. So that's actually canceled right now. So if I play a card that has special effect, or a card that's existing out there doesn't happen, and then they all have basically a toughness of 1 until for each hero. Wow. Okay, so I'm going to put Magneto here. he's done. Oh, I got to put the 2 civilians out, or 2 thugs. So the thugs show up here. So I got to clear some of these because it's getting scary. Overflowing is not good. Okay. So unfortunately, I can't use Wolverine's ability now because that is now canceled until the next turn. So now we go to Beast again. He draws a card. It's actually not bad. Okay, that's actually what I need to do. So every hero has a card like this and another card with a single wild. These are great because when I play this, Beast gets that, but then the next hero will also get the 2 wilds to play, which is very powerful. So I'm going to play that card because we need it. So right now, Beast is getting a heroic action from Wolverine's previous card, and he's also going to get the 2 wilds. So what I think I'm going to do is use that 1 wild. Yeah, we need to start. He's going to use it to move twice, the wild, and then he's going to do heroic action. Oh no, that's not what I want to do. No, he's going to use 1 to move, and then he'll take 2 heroic actions. 1 being from the Wolverine's card, and 1 being from his. He's going to put 2 heroic action tokens on here, getting it halfway being defeated. I think that's the best use of that. But the good thing is now Storm has 2 wild tokens coming into her because of Beast card. So, and that's not a good use of that. So now special abilities are ignored, which are the top parts. So like I can't play this because I could, but it doesn't do any good, which is a really good, powerful movement ability. That's probably good late game. So what I'm going to do is play this card, which has 2 punches. She's going to move twice, 1, 2, using the wilds, come here and hit Scarlet Witch twice, and that's her turn. So now Wolverine has 2 punches coming in from Storm's card, and well, I think it's probably the best thing I can do right now because the special abilities aren't useful. Because I can't use them because they're ignored because of Magneto's helmet. So I'm going to play this card, which gives him a move and an heroic, and he also has the 2 attack from Storm. So he's going to move 1. Yeah, I'll do that because that's got 1 left. Yeah, he's going to move 1 using his move. He's going to do heroic action. We're not trying to clear. Normally in a normal game situation, you can use heroics to clear or to rescue civilians, but I'm not going to waste that because we need civilians on the board or we're going to lose the game. He's going to put a heroic action here, and he's going to punch, use 2 attacks to take out 2 more thugs. So now we're at 5 thugs. We need 4 more to clear this threat. Well, let's leave them there like that, as you can see. We're also trying to clear this one so we don't get... It's probably best to clear all the threats if you can, but sometimes you just don't have time. The timing in this game is very, very neat because you're just like under pressure all the time. So now we're at Magneto's turn, drawing his card. Okay, so he goes 1. Oh, that's not going to be good. He's going to go 1. There's no effect of him moving into there. There's usually, it looks like this little arrow thing, but there's nothing on here that does that. Some threats do have that. He does 1. He does a BAM, which basically says add 1 and add 1 thug and 1 damage to each hero, and maybe his location. And each hero in this and adjacent that we don't have any, so we're not going to worry about it. But there is an overflow because I cannot put another thug in that spot. So if 1 or more thugs or civilian tokens can't be added to the location turn, all civilians in that location and in both adjacent locations to thugs. Oh, not good. We still have civilians? Yes, we do. Oh man, not good. So these all get turned in to thugs. Now we do the BAM for all the bad guys. So Scarlet Witch Be good. Okay. Scarlet Witch says each hero in this location must take a random card from their hand and remove it from the game. Oh, not good. So I got to shuffle Storms and take one card and remove it completely. So I'm going to take that one. See what it is. Oh, no, it's one of our good movement cards. Okay, well, it's out of the game now. It doesn't get discarded. It's out of the game. I don't get to put that back under the deck. And then there's nothing, and nobody's in his... Discard one civilian from that location, deal 5 damage, or deal a damage. There's nobody there. And then we add civilians again, or thugs. There's a thug here. I'll put them over there. A thug here, if you look, there's 2 adjacent locations and the center one. Now we can't do that again. So turn all, so we don't have to worry about overflow because there's no other civilians. So that's not good. We need to start dealing with that. Okay. So now we go to the next, we go to Beast. So, he drew a card. I think I need to give... No, he's going to have a heroic action from Wolverine's last card played. Oh, I'm sorry, it's a movement. This is the one. The movement and heroic. That's actually really good, so I can do something else. But I think... He needs to be able to... So now... Powers are back. Oh, now it's into the Valentine when Wolverine gets to draw a card because he's down by 1. So because he has his healing factors now back in play. I think I'll do that. I think I'll play this card, which is Beast. So this turn, I can treat all of the heroic actions as wild cards. So I have 2 heroic actions, one from Wolverine and one from his card. So he's going to spend 1 to clear this threat because why not? That gets rid of that one. So he's going to clear that. And then he's going to move and punch Scarlet Witch. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. We need to get Scarlet Witch out of here. And he's done. Now Storm. Oh, she gets to draw a card. She's down by 1 because she lost one of the cards. So she's going to have a heroic action. Yeah, I think I'll do that. Oh, man, she doesn't have a way to punch. But she does have a... Okay, I'll do that. That's probably best. Yeah, we'll do that. Sorry. I'm going to play this card, which gives... I don't need to move. No. I'm going to play that. It gives a wild card. So she's got a wild and a heroic action. So her wild is... Yeah. She's gonna have to take out Scarlet Witch. No. I think I want to do this other card. This is actually better. Because if I do this now, he'll get to activate. So I'm going to do this card. She has a move and a heroic. She's going to put another heroic and a move, and that's her turn. But she can relocate any heroes to different locations. So she's going to move Wolverine to here. Yeah. And I'm going to have move, is it any hero? And I'm going to move Storm to here. So another hero in this or in an adjacent location may draw 1 card. So she's going to have Wolverine draw a card to see if he can get something good. And that's her turn. All right. Oh, that's really good. So he's got 2 moves. He doesn't need a move. He needs punches. Okay, I'll do that. So I'm going to play this card. So he's got a move action and 2 attacks. So he's going to do this. He's going to attack and take out Scarlet Witch, which now gets that threat cleared. We'll get to that in a second. And then he has a move action. Actually, I think I like that ability. Well, he's going to spend his move. And he's going to sit there because then he can do a damage to Blob because it says you may deal 1 damage to a thug or a henchman in any location from Asteroid M. Now, the reason why I didn't want to clear the threat last turn is because then it was after 2 heroes have gone, Magneto would have been able to go before Wolverine. By not clearing it till Wolverine, this threat clears. And now, Magneto's going to go every 2 hero turns. So we got that 3rd hero turn before he gets to activate. So now we're activating Magneto. So he goes 0 and bam, which is actually really good. Because he moves 0, which is there. He bams, which doesn't do anything. We try to add 1 thug, and we can't, so he does his overflow, which there's no more civilians to take away, which is great. Wow, that's just crazy. And then he adds thugs. Well, he can't add a thug there. There's another overflow. The BAMs do not, Blob doesn't affect anybody, so we're going to pass him. But these do get added another thug. That was actually pretty good, because now we can maybe have a chance to catch up. Okay, now it's going to be every 2 turns. So Beast gets to go. It'll be Beast and then Storm, and then Magneto will get to go again. So now he's ramped up his ability. So Beast right now has 2 punches coming in from Wolverine's card. So we need to give... Oh, that's really good. Yeah, let's do that. So I'm going to play this card for Beast. He's got a move and a punch. So he's going to move and punch Blob 3 times. So that actually gets Blob down to 1. And it gives a move and a punch. And then I'm going to go with Storm. Yeah, that's actually what I need. Okay. Yeah. So I'm going to play this on Storm. She has from Beast card a move and a punch. She's also going to get a move and a heroic action. So she's going to move twice. 1, 2. And she's going to waste the heroic action, but she's going to punch Blob and get rid of all of the henchmen, which is good. And since that threat's been cleared, we don't have to keep track of it anymore. So she ends her turn. She can do this. You may rescue 1 civilian from this location. She doesn't want to do that. There is no civilians, but she could also choose not to, since it says may. She probably wouldn't in this scenario, because she wants to keep as many civilians on the board as possible. There's only 2 left, and we may lose if we're not careful. So now, it is now Magneto's turn, because we've activated 2. Okay, so he's going to go 1 and bam. So I show the card. He goes 1. He goes 1. Bams. He can't add a thug there. No damage is dealt. Can't add a thug. Can't add a thug. But that's actually... Oh, he can't add a thug here. Well, no. Yeah, so all these are thugs, so it doesn't really matter. And then we do this. And no thug, can't. Overflow. Adjacent, and here. So, okay, that actually was fortuitous, because this doesn't trigger anything bad, but we've really got to get on Magneto now. We still can't attack him yet, because we still have 2 threats out there. But we've cleared enough where we can start. And I don't think there's any way to get civilians back. That's actually interesting. Okay. So, like I said, I've not looked through his villain stuff. And I'm not familiar with your cards yet. So, I'm playing Wolverine next. He already had 3 cards, so he doesn't get to heal. So, what he needs to do, he's got a move and a heroic coming from yeah. Should I do that? Yeah. He's got a move and a heroic, sorry, coming from Storm. So he's got to play something that gets moves and stuff going. Maybe I'll do that. Yeah, I'll do that. I'm going to play this to get rid of those, because I think we have to be careful. Probably there's another big move coming for Magneto, my guess is. So I'm going to play that, which gives him... yeah, I'm going to clear 2 of those. Yeah. So I'm going to play this, which he has adamantium claws, and he gets a move. So he gets a move in heroic. So he's actually going to clear this. So he's going to put a move in heroic down as an action, which clears this threat. Which clears that, I'm sorry, which clears that, that objective. Which means now the villain can be damaged. He also has 2 attacks, so he's going to take out 2 thugs from this spot. So they got 2 more. They can do that. They get to draw a card. And you can draw more cards than 3. You can have as many cards in your hand as possible. And remember, cards in hand are wounds effectively for the superheroes. So now, going into Beast, because he's next. He's next in the line. He has a move icon. Yeah, so he's got a move icon coming in, and so he could play. So I drew. I don't need that. We don't need that, but he can use that. Let's clear out some thugs. So I'm going to play this card, a wild. So he's got a move coming. And does he really need... Oh, and I'm sorry, Wolverine can deal 1 damage to a thug in any location. So just in case, he's going to do 1 here, which clears that. Oh, that's actually good. So I'm going to do with... That does 1 damage. So that actually counts as clearing that. So then I'm going to play that, which he can clear this thug, which clears this also, this one. So that's actually good. Which means every hero gets to draw a card now, which is great. And I'll just draw them and put them on their stack. So he also still has a move left. And my assumption is Magneto's going to move over this direction with the next card, which we're going to play just next. I think I'm going to move him here, use that ability to damage this one, just in case he does move. It's moving. We're not going to have an overflow, which will cause all of the civilians to disappear, which is bad. If these 2 civilians go, we lose the game, because I don't think there's any way to get civilians back. I haven't seen his cards yet, so let's see. So now we're going to draw Magneto. Oh, so he moves 3, but there's no BAM. That's excellent. So 1, 2, 3. Oh, look at, hello, Mr. Magneto. Vulnerable you are. So he does 3. There is no BAM effect. There's no entrance effect. So he has to put a thug in his current location and both adjacents. So I'm going to put a thug in both. But it doesn't cause an overflow, which is great. So he's done. Miss Storm gets to go. Aurora gets to draw a card. Ooh, that's good. Yeah, it's time to start punishing. Time to start punishing the man. They don't need to move because Wolverine's going next. I'm going to give Wolverine this because you have to kind of think ahead. I'm going to give Wolverine these 2 because he's going to go next after her. But Storm gets 3 of those on the... She gets Beast plus her. So she's going to move down here and punch Magneto because he is not adjacent to this, so he can take damage. So we're going to do 3 damage to him. I'm sorry, 2. So he's down to 5. And then Wolverine gets to go. He gets to draw a card. Now he's got 2 wilds coming in. Can we defeat him? Ooh. I think we can do it. So I drew this card, which allows Wolverine to go right after Storm. Storm has 2 wild cards. Wolverine has 2 adamantium claws and 1 wild. So he's going to play it. I'll put it right here. So basically, he's not going to move. He can do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 damage in 1 go against Magneto. And he defeats Magneto. Magneto has been defeated by our team. He zeroes out. All right, so that's how the game is played. It's pretty close. It was close because there was only 2 civilians left. If those would have dropped, we'd have lost the game according to his villainous plot. He had plenty of cards left, but that was still pretty tough. mean, that was really good that I drew a Storm's ability, and then Wolverine had a bunch of attacks, and he landed right where they could be at. Normally, I've seen games where you're chasing the villain for a couple of turns, and that gets really bad. He had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cards left. So that is how the game is played. It's a great game. It's a lot of fun. I have taught people this, and it's like 15-minute teach, and you're playing really quick. And generally, you see the click in about a turn or two. They're like, "Oh, I see what's going on." A lot of fun, great stuff. Hope you enjoyed the playthrough. Our heroes, some of the core X-Men, did a good job of fighting Magneto, and they stopped his plot from taking over. So that is the end of episode 6. I hope you enjoyed it. Our heroes should return next week. Like I said, my channel will be used for all sorts of different types of games, solo gaming that I enjoy doing, and maybe running that adventure, which I enjoy doing. But I felt like it was fun to run this game. I hadn't played a couple weeks, and I was like, oh, let me run through on the channel. So I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you saw it's a fun game, and if you can see a good sale price on it or pick it up, just the base set. This is just the core set, except for some of them fancy tokens and stuff. I've upgraded that, but you do get nice set tokens. These are the normal tokens that come with it. They're pretty good stock, good quality, nice gloss finish to them. And you get, I use dice for damage and wounds, but you generally get these tokens that you stack. I get a couple out, but they're just nice quality too. They're the wound tokens, but I just like to use dice because it's easier to represent and see quickly. But other than that, and the box set itself gives you several villains and 6 heroes. And some of the villains can be heroes, so you actually get double play. And then the other set, which is the Marvel United, which is basically the Avengers stuff, has some great stuff. And they're all compatible. You can use the heroes. I could have played Captain America in here if I wanted to, or Doctor Strange along with Storm and Beast or Wolverine or whatever. And it plays from 1 to 4 players. I recommend it playing at 3. 2 is fine, and 4 is good. But I think 3 is the sweet spot in the game overall. But solo plays good with 3 heroes is fun. So that's it. So I hope you enjoyed it. I will see you guys next time. And that is all for tonight. Have a good one.